Look at me for a second, because there's something you've been ignoring, something she does, that your brain felt, but you convinced yourself you were imagining it. If you felt a jolt in your chest just now, stay exactly where you are. Because the truth is this: most men don't realize the moment a woman starts lying to them, but her body always exposes it before her words do. And if you don't understand these signals, you're walking blind into emotional danger. I'm going to reveal something at the very end that most men never figure out, so stay with me. And hey, before we go deeper, make sure to like this video and subscribe, because I promise you this: the insights you learn here will sharpen your instincts in every relationship you ever have. Now, let's start with something brutally honest. When a woman lies, it's rarely random. It's rarely meaningless. It usually comes from one of three psychological triggers: fear, guilt, or power shifting. But the scary part is that men often misinterpret these signals as stress, moodiness, or maybe she's just tired. She's not. You're watching the early stages of deception form in real time. One of the earliest hidden signs is micro-guarding, a subtle, almost invisible tightening of her body when you ask a question. Her shoulders lift slightly, her arms shift closer to her torso, or her chin pulls back. Not in fear of you, but in fear of exposure. It lasts maybe half a second. Most men miss it. Your instincts notice it, but your mind talks you out of it because you want to believe her. Another psychological tell is the emotional mismatch, when her tone doesn't fit her words. For example, she tells you she's fine, but her tone is too quick, too flat, too forced. Women are emotionally expressive by nature. When emotion suddenly shuts down, it's rarely accidental. It's self-protection. A lie forces the brain to monitor tone, facial muscles, and story details all at once. Something always slips. Then there's the one almost every man overlooks. She becomes overly specific about irrelevant details, but vague about the parts that matter. Real truth is simple. Manufactured truth is embellished. If she gives you a long, detailed explanation about where she put her jacket, but suddenly glosses over who she was with, her mind is using detail to distract you from the part she's unsure you'll accept. But the most dangerous sign, the one that quietly destroys men, is when she becomes unusually sweet or gentle right after acting distant or irritated earlier. This is emotional compensation. She feels the internal tension of hiding something, so she tries to rebalance it with sudden warmth. Men misread this as affection. It's not affection, it's guilt management. And listen, this isn't about demonizing women. Both men and women lie. But the difference is, women lie more emotionally than logically, which makes their signals detectable if you know what to look for. And if your stomach feels tight right now, it's because some part of you has already seen these signs. You just didn't understand what they meant. I'm going to show you exactly what that internal tension looks like when it reaches its peak, and once you know it, you'll never unsee it. Listen carefully, because what I'm about to describe is the moment every man senses, but almost none know how to decode. It's the shift, the instant a woman goes from being connected to you, open with you, honest with you, to suddenly feeling guarded. Most men feel it as something's off, but you're about to understand exactly what's happening beneath the surface. There's a psychological pattern every woman enters when she lies. Think of it as a small internal storm. Her nervous system spikes, her emotional control tightens, and her brain works overtime to manage your perception. She's not just telling a story, she's building a shield, and that shield has cracks all over it. One of the biggest cracks is the pause that shouldn't exist. A woman who's telling the truth rarely needs to rewind her thoughts before answering you, but a woman hiding something will give you a momentary silence, just long enough for her brain to calculate an acceptable answer. It's tiny, but intentional. She may even repeat your question back to you, buying herself time. That repetition is not confusion, it's cognitive load. Her brain is editing before speaking. Another signal is the sudden shift in eye contact. Contrary to the stereotype, liars don't always look away. Women, especially emotionally intelligent women, often overcompensate by giving you too much eye contact. It's a performance. It's forced engagement. She's watching your reaction more than she's expressing her own truth. Her eyes aren't connecting with you. They're monitoring you. That is a critical distinction. But the sign that cuts the deepest is the change in emotional rhythm. Women naturally communicate with flow, small laughs, sighs, expressions, small emotional colors throughout a conversation. When she lies, that rhythm dies. Everything becomes more mechanical. Her expressions are delayed. Her reactions feel slightly unnatural. It's like her emotional energy drops by a few degrees, just enough that something feels off, but not enough to accuse her. You're left in a psychological fog, unsure of what your instincts are telling you. And then there's the defensive softness. She won't get angry. She won't push back. Instead, she becomes strangely gentle, like she's trying to guide the conversation away from danger without triggering suspicion. Her voice softens at the edges. Her explanations become smoother, and she uses reassuring phrases. I promise. You know me. Why would I lie? Notice something. Truth doesn't beg for reassurance. Lies do. Another powerful tell is her relationship with her phone. A lying woman behaves as though her phone is both a lifeline and a liability. She keeps it close, screen turned down, and reacts faster than usual when a notification hits. Not because she's doing something wrong in that moment, but because she's afraid of what you might see if something pops up. Her nervous system is on guard even when she smiles. But here's the hardest truth to swallow. Sometimes she's not lying about an action. Sometimes she's lying about a feeling, and emotional lies can be more damaging than behavioral ones. A woman who says she's happy but shows subtle signs of resentment, distance, or withdrawal is emotionally lying to maintain peace. Men often sense this, but don't know how to interpret it. I'll show you exactly how to do that next. There's a moment in every man's life where he looks at a woman he cares about and asks himself a quiet, painful question. Why doesn't what she's saying match what I'm feeling from her? That moment is not paranoia. It's not insecurity. It's the collision between her spoken truth and her emotional truth. Women are emotionally complex, beautifully so, but also confusing when they're hiding something. And I need you to understand this. A woman's emotional lies are almost always more revealing than her verbal lies, because her emotions leak, they escape. They expose her before she even realizes it. One of the strongest signs is the withdrawal that doesn't match the situation. She becomes less affectionate, less talkative, less curious about you, yet nothing dramatic has happened between you. You're left wondering if you did something wrong. But what you're really seeing is emotional displacement. When a woman hides something, doubts, guilt, secrets, uncertainty, she pulls back not because of you, but because she's protecting her internal conflict. Another tell is manufactured peace. She suddenly becomes too calm, too unbothered, too agreeable. This is not emotional maturity, it's emotional management. She's trying to maintain equilibrium because she fears that if she reacts normally, something inside her will slip out. She's not lying to manipulate you. She's lying to protect herself from the consequences of honesty. Then there's the inconsistency in warmth. One day she's affectionate, the next she's cold, then she's warm again. This hot and cool pattern is not random. It's her trying to balance two worlds, the truth she feels and the story she's telling. And you can feel the emotional tremors each time she switches states. Women don't lose affection in a straight line. They lose it in fluctuations. Those fluctuations are psychological breadcrumbs. Pay attention also to how she reacts when you share something vulnerable. A woman who's emotionally aligned with you softens. She leans in. She becomes more present. But a woman who's hiding something will give surface empathy, kind words, polite responses. But the emotional depth isn't there. She hears you, but she's not with you. That distance is a sign her mind is somewhere else. There's a more subtle signal many men never recognize. She stops asking questions about your life. Not because she doesn't care, but because asking questions requires emotional engagement. And emotional engagement becomes dangerous when she's hiding something. A woman who's completely honest remains curious. A woman who's conflicted becomes quiet. And here's where the psychology gets deeper. Women often feel guilt more intensely than men, but they manage it differently. They don't confess. They compensate. They give small conveniences, small kindnesses, small gestures, not out of love, but out of imbalance. She's trying to even out something she isn't telling you. Men often misread this as affection returning, but it's not returning, it's covering. You're not imagining the emotional cracks. You never were. There's a specific pattern she shows when her story and her emotions finally start contradicting each other. And once you understand this pattern, you'll see the truth instantly. There's a point in every situation where a woman's lies, whether small, emotional, or significant, can no longer hold themselves together. And men feel this moment not with their mind, but with their body. A heaviness in the chest, a sudden tension, a quiet sense that the relationship's energy has changed. That feeling is not insecurity. It's your subconscious detecting psychological leakage. Because no matter how skilled a woman is at controlling her words, she cannot control the moment her inner world and outer behavior fall out of sync. And that misalignment creates a pattern so distinct, so consistent, that once you understand it, you'll never miss it again. The first part of this pattern is overcorrection. When she senses you're paying attention, when she feels you noticing her distance, her inconsistency, her tension, she suddenly becomes the version of herself you remember. Warmer, sweeter, more attentive. But here's the catch. The warmth comes too fast. It feels rushed. It feels like she flipped a switch. Real affection doesn't switch on like a light, but guilt does. A woman lying emotionally or verbally tries to restore the normal atmosphere too quickly, and that speed is the giveaway. Another piece of the pattern is story reinforcement. She doesn't just tell you something once, she revisits it, rephrases it, brings it up again, even when you didn't ask. This is not honesty, it's stabilization. She's trying to lock the narrative into place. Women who are telling the truth don't feel the need to re-explain simple things, but women who are hiding something feel compelled to reinforce the structure of their story so it doesn't crack under pressure. Then comes the preemptive tenderness. She starts giving you soft touches, checking on you more often, looking at you longer. It's tenderness, yes, but with tension behind it. It's the kind of affection that feels like she's seeking reassurance from you, even while she's pretending to reassure you. This is the emotional imbalance of deception. Her nervous system wants closeness because she's afraid of what distance might reveal. But the most powerful part of the pattern is something men almost always explain away. Her emotional presence starts to fade, even when her behavior looks the same. She smiles, but her smile doesn't reach her eyes. She laughs, but it feels slightly delayed. She touches you, but her body doesn't relax. She talks to you, but she's not with you. This is the psychological split, her inner truth versus her outer expression. And maintaining that split drains her. You can literally feel her energy thinning. Not because she doesn't care, but because lying, even small lies, takes emotional fuel. And eventually, the subconscious signs become too strong for her to hide. When this happens, you'll notice another shift. She stops making future-based statements. No more next weekend. No more we should go there. No more remind me to. A woman who is fully aligned with you imagines the future effortlessly. A woman hiding something avoids it automatically. The future becomes a threat because it requires emotional consistency she can't maintain. And here's where the real truth sits. Your intuition has always been right. The signs were always there. You just didn't have the language to decode them. But once you recognize this complete pattern, overcorrection, story reinforcement, preemptive tenderness, emotional fading, and future withdrawal, you gain a psychological advantage most men never achieve. You're about to learn the signs that appear when she feels cornered by her own lie, the point where her behavior becomes impossible to hide. There is a very specific moment, subtle, quick, and deeply revealing, when a woman realizes the lie she's been holding, whether emotional or verbal, is becoming too heavy to manage. And when that moment hits, her behavior enters what psychologists call pressure response mode. This is where the truth begins, slipping through the cracks faster than she can seal them. The first sign of pressure is the rise of disproportionate reactions. You'll notice she starts giving emotional responses that don't match the intensity of the situation. Small questions suddenly make her irritated. Casual conversations feel tense. Neutral comments make her defensive. She's not reacting to your words. She's reacting to the internal weight of what she's hiding. Her brain is scanning for threats, and even innocent moments feel like exposure. Remember this, when her emotional volume doesn't match the moment, she's protecting something. Another pressure response is the sudden shift in routine. She starts changing patterns she once considered normal: sleep schedule, communication habits, social media activity, even the way she gets ready, the way she uses her phone, the way she prioritizes time. When guilt or deception rises, consistency dies. Not because she wants to change, but because lies force the mind into constant adjustment, and the human brain is terrible at maintaining two realities at once. You'll also notice her curiosity about your day fades. This isn't the same as emotional distance. It's psychological fatigue. Asking questions requires genuine engagement, and engagement becomes unsafe when she's hiding something. So she keeps things surface level. She listens, but she doesn't dive deeper. She reacts, but she doesn't explore. Her energy is being spent managing her own internal conflict, leaving very little for connection. But the most revealing sign is something few men pay attention to. She becomes afraid of silence. Silence invites thought. Silence invites truth. Silence invites the moment where you might ask something she's not prepared to answer. So she fills the quiet. Small talk, random comments, short conversations that go nowhere. She's not trying to bond. She's trying to distract. The fear isn't you. It's what silence might force her to confront. Then comes the psychological tipping point, self-contradiction. She'll say something that doesn't match what she said earlier. A detail shifts. A timeline changes. A reaction contradicts something she told you weeks ago. These aren't mistakes. They're symptoms of cognitive overload. Humans remember truths easily. Lies require maintenance, and maintenance leads to slip-ups. But the deepest sign of all, the one that reveals everything, is emotional hesitation. Watch the moment you ask a meaningful question. There's a flicker before she answers. A pause so quick you almost miss it. A tightening around her eyes. A micro-expression of fear or guilt. Her answer may be calm, but her nervous system already spoke. That micro-hesitation is the raw truth, unfiltered. And here's the part that most men never understand. A woman who still wants to protect the relationship will start showing you fragments of vulnerability. Half admissions, softening, a sudden moment of honesty about something small. This is her testing whether she can reveal the bigger truth without losing you. She won't confess outright. She will confess in pieces, slowly, watching your reaction like a thermometer. When you learn to read these precious signals, you gain clarity, not to accuse, not to punish, but to finally understand what your instincts have been whispering all along. You're ready now for the final stage, what happens when the truth is on the edge, and how a man should respond with strength, emotional intelligence, and calm power. There's a final stage in the psychology of deception, one most men never recognize until it's already damaged their trust. It's the moment when the truth sits right beneath the surface, when she feels the pressure, the fear, the guilt, and the emotional exhaustion all at once. This is where a woman's behavior becomes the clearest it has ever been, not because she wants to reveal the truth, but because she can no longer suppress the emotional cost of hiding it. And here's the part that matters most for you as a man. Your response in this stage determines the entire outcome. Not her words, not her explanation, not the lie itself. Your energy, your composure, your clarity. That's what sets the tone for everything that happens next. When a woman reaches this breaking point, the first thing you'll notice is her emotional vulnerability becomes inconsistent. Some days she seems like she wants to open up. Her guard lowers, she softens, she hints at something deeper. Other days she retreats completely, as if the smallest question makes her shut down. This isn't manipulation, it's internal conflict. She's caught between the fear of losing you and the fear of telling the truth. Another sign is the avoidance of intimacy. Not just physical, but emotional intimacy. She won't want to have deep conversations. She won't want to talk about her feelings. She won't want to reflect on the relationship. Why? Because intimacy requires openness, and openness risks exposure. So she stays at the surface, even if she used to love diving deep with you. That shift alone is one of the clearest psychological signs that something inside her is unresolved. But perhaps the most revealing behavior is her sudden hyper-awareness of your mood. She studies your reactions, she watches your tone, she notices small changes in your expression, not because she's trying to manipulate you, but because she's trying to predict how much truth she can safely reveal. A guilty conscience makes her sensitive, alert, and emotionally reactive to even minor shifts in your behavior. And this is where so many men make the mistake that destroys communication. They push, interrogate, confront with intensity. That approach triggers her defenses, her fear, and her instinct to hide more. You never get the truth through pressure. You get defensiveness, tears, emotional shutdown, or silence. The strongest men, emotionally mature men, do something different. They stay calm, they stay grounded, they stay observant, and by not reacting explosively, they create an environment where honesty becomes less threatening than the lie. Because here's the psychological truth that most people don't understand. People don't tell the truth when they feel accused. They tell the truth when they feel safe enough to face the consequences. So when you sense the truth is on the edge, the most powerful thing you can do is shift from "what are you hiding?" to "talk to me. I want to understand." Your tone becomes the doorway. Your calm becomes the safety. Your emotional intelligence becomes the truth serum. And sometimes, this is the hard part, the truth won't be dramatic at all. It might be fear, insecurity, a mistake, confusion, emotional overwhelm, not betrayal, not disloyalty, just human complexity. Women lie for many reasons, and not all of them mean she doesn't care. But if the truth is something serious, your calm response protects you from acting impulsively and making decisions out of emotion instead of clarity. Here's the real psychological power. A man who can spot lies instantly, stay grounded emotionally, and respond with steady strength becomes impossible to manipulate and impossible to deceive for long. Not because he's harsh, but because he's aware, centered, and connected to reality instead of fantasy. And if you want more breakdowns like this, more truth, more psychology, more insight into human behavior, make sure you like this video and subscribe to the channel. You're building wisdom most men never develop. If you want a follow-up topic or a new script, just tell me.